The two people that are responsible for this forum, our executive sponsors, are the Director of the Office of System Integration, John Boule, and the Executive Director of the California Project Management Office, Tamara Armstrong. They have put a lot of time and effort into making sure this forum has content that is valuable and effective and will make your jobs easier. So, without any further ado, your executive sponsors, John Boule and Tamara Armstrong.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, come on, come on. Good morning. All right. It's not Monday, people. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and we're not in the office. That's a reason to be excited. Well, good morning. I am so excited to be here, and this is a really special day for John and I because today is the largest attendance for the Project Delivery Summit. We were bursting at the seams last year at the Sheraton, so we had to move over here to the Convention Center. And I think total combined, we're very close to 1,000 participants between the registration. So that is a huge deal for us and a very exciting milestone, and we are excited to be here. So welcome. Thank you for being a part of this day. We're excited about what we have in store for you all.
So how many people, this is your first time to the Project Delivery Summit? Awesome, thank you. Thank you for being here. Part of the expansion of the Project Delivery Summit has come through outreach to our county and our local government. The way we deliver services to citizens is a partnership between our federal partners, our state partners, and our local government partners. And when we look at projects, it's how we deliver those services. So we're very happy to be able to have our local government partners, to have our universities represented here today, and almost all of our state agencies and all of our state projects. Russ showed a slide up there that represented all the people that have invested their time, their effort, and their energy in this conference. I do want to acknowledge you guys. So everybody that served on the board in any capacity, please stand up for a second. Let's give them a round of applause. These people took time away from the office, from the projects that they managed, to invest in you. And all we ask for you today is to listen, communicate, and invest your time in this day. So I just want to thank the board. I want to thank all of our attendees. Who else we need to thank tomorrow?
Well, today would not be possible without the PSP team. So you met Russ Hicks, who came up here, and him and his team do an amazing job of keeping us all moving forward. This is not something that happens overnight. It takes really, quite frankly, a year of putting together. We've been working on this for a year now. And so we just want to thank the PSP team. Please stand wherever you are, Russ and Sherilyn and Ann and everyone else. Thank you so much. So we can give them a round of applause because today, thank you, Russ. And your team has been amazing in terms of making sure that we have everything that we needed and really, making sure that we have a high quality day. So we really want to thank you for that. Also, today would not be possible, as Russ mentioned earlier, without our private sector sponsors, the people that are out in the lobby there that have, that are in business here and partnering with public sector on our projects and just helping us to make projects successful. So if you are one of our sponsors here for the day that has engaged and partnered with us, can you please stand if you're from any of those organizations? Okay, all right. So we want to thank you. We know that it takes time and energy and precious resources to support this event, and we do sincerely appreciate that. We know it's also time away from your jobs, just as it is for us. We want to thank you for your support and participation of this event. So it's a big deal that we're here, and as I mentioned, it's a day away from the office, right? But is it just a day away from the office? We're all really busy people. We all have very busy projects to run. That's why we're here. So, John, since we're all here, and we know there's a lot to tend to back at the office, are we going to talk all the way about how should we be here and there at the same time? Is it possible? Can we multitask? Can we make it happen? Is that what we're going to talk about today?
It's tough to be here and there at the same time. These things keep us connected all the time. So we need to ask you a favor. As you go into your educational sessions, try to unplug, okay? Invest the time, the effort, the energy in listening to the content and interacting with your speakers. I say that to everybody except for our Cal Hears team because today is the first day of open enrollment. Plug in. If there's an issue with the system, go over there. All right, Cal Hears. All right? But for the rest of you, unplug, please.
There are no exceptions to that rule.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Unplug. It is an investment, and we want you all to take advantage of it. Today's theme is really about embracing disruption and avoiding dysfunction. And as we were putting together, this event, embracing disruption, how can you want to embrace disruption? Of course we want to, prevent dysfunction, but really do we want to embrace disruption? And so we thought about, what does that term disruption actually mean? So Merriam-Webster says, it is an act or instance of the order of things being disturbed. Some related words are revolution, I love that word, by the way, unsettledness, upheaval, right? These are important terms because really, frankly, you're either in that state already or you might need to get there, right? Some of us are just part of our circumstance in a state of upheaval. But it is important that we look at the status quo and think it's time to change, right? We cannot continue to do things the way that we have done them before. Technology advances are occurring not in a linear fashion, but in an exponential fashion. So it's not just an incremental increase of 1, 2, 3, 4. Advances are occurring at 2, 4, 8, 16, right? Leaps and bounds. In order for us to be able to take advantage of these emerging technologies and all of the advancements that are happening, we have got to do things differently. We have got to think about progress differently. And so we need to be disturbed. We need a bit of an upheaval. We need to look at things differently to take advantage of innovation. So to reap these benefits, whether it is, alternative development methodologies, whether it's shared services or even technologies that are to help us to prevent cyber attacks, we have got to embrace this change. We have to embrace this state of breaking ranks with the normal way that we've done things and be able to adapt and be able to model the way and lead by example of being advocates for change, champions for change, and really saying, how can we take advantage of this situation? Let's be disrupted in a managed and controlled way, but let's look at things differently.
Mm-hmm. So I think the other part of our tagline, boy, I think you could have got a better looking spokesmodel for you. I feel like a spokesmodel here.
I think you're looking good.
But the other part of our tagline, when we look at that, is avoiding dysfunction. And what is dysfunction is really an unhealthy and lack of functioning, an unhealthy interchange, unhealthy behaviors that lead to dysfunction. Now, we've never experienced any of those on any of our projects that I know of, but we want to avoid that as we go forward. When we look at, we are in the change business. When you look at projects, we have to be a catalyst for change. A small part of that is technology. A large part of that is human behavior and how we collaborate with our end users to bring about solutions for efficiency. But if we look at the second part of our tagline, unmanaged change leads to change failure, which leads to dysfunction, which leads to challenges, which leads to issues associated with employee retention, what leads to issues associated with credibility with our sponsors, credibility with our control agencies. That's what we have to avoid. And there's many, many ways that we can really bring everybody into the boat. Talking with your end users, collaborating with your control agencies, and bringing about transparency as we go forward. I'm a quote guy. I like saying quotes. So President John F. Kennedy said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future." So today, we are going to look at the past, what has worked, lessons learned. We're going to look at the innovation that's presently going on. We have a government solution center out there. There are some great things that are happening in this state in project management. Check it out. Go out there and spend some time with people. Again, invest that time. But we need to be able to look at our future and chart a course for the future. One based on appropriate transparency. One based on open source, one based on user-centered design, and one based on collaboration. And that's collaboration from the public sector to the private sector, from state government to local government, across all of the different and various stakeholders that we have in our projects. That's what we have to look at, because you cannot do a project in a silo. So, Tamara, what are some of the takeaways that we have for today?
Well, takeaway number one, you mentioned user-centered design, is to anchor to the business problem daily. We are very subject in our busy, busy lives to getting heads down and focused on the minutia. What are we supposed to do today? What is the thing, what is my yellow sticky or my task list say that I'm supposed to do? We every day should be anchoring to the business problem that we are trying to solve. What do our customers, our users need? How can we put that in the forefront, that everything that we do, and put context around our decision making, our actions, our governance, everything about what is the business problem that we're trying to solve. So I think today, use that, right, as our first and foremost. Always think about the priorities and the mission as it relates to the business problem that we're trying to solve, or the opportunity we're trying to take advantage of.
I think the other thing is our end users' expectations have increased. I think Tamara hit it on the head. Exponential increase of expectations on what we are delivering. I remember 3 decades ago when we started projects and automation projects, we had to do keyboard and mouse training. Well, now our end users have expectations, and it's up to us as project management professionals to rapidly evaluate and look at emerging technologies, emerging processes, and to be able to work with our sponsors and our end users to be able to see how those work. And again, there's some of those that are out there in the government solution centers today.
And not to be Captain Obvious here, but all of us expect, right, the same thing from government that we do from private sector. We want the same level of service. We want the same level of technology advances. We don't want to say we expect this in our personal lives and in our personal commerce, and then we expect something different from government, right? We and other taxpayers want innovation, right, in government as well. And so adapting and looking at these new technologies is important. One of the quotes that John gave, which I thought was really good, is a producer and author, Ryan Kavanaugh, said, the key is to embrace disruption and change early. Don't react to it decades later, because you cannot fight innovation. So our challenge is to be an accelerator and not a brake. Right? Many people look at project teams and they think that they don't want to come to us because we're going to say, no, we can't do that. How can we be an accelerator for change? How can we be an accelerator for innovation? We want to have people look at us to say that we are, again, leading by example, and we're embracing change. How can we wrap our arms around this and figure out how to make this work? How does this work for our business problem, and not just rely upon the status quo? So again, whether or not it's leveraging our enterprise architecture folks, shared services, open data, open source, whatever it is, let's embrace that and move forward as positively as possible.
So let's be architects of our future as we go out and look at that. If you are staying the same, you're falling behind. I think that's a theme for the day. If you're in a good project, don't worry, it will change. If you're in a bad project, don't worry. You have the power to make that change. And that's what you need to be looking at today. So let's talk a little bit about readiness.
So I have a bit of a different perspective on readiness. I don't think that readiness is a destination. I don't think you're ever really, truly, always ready. I think it's a journey. I think that it's something that we have to continue to commit ourselves to always preparing for readiness in order to be ready. But it's not always about being fully prepared, right? In some cases, if we waited until we were 100% ready to do something, guess what? We likely never move, right? How many of you decided you were going to wait until you're 100% ready to have children? That worked out all right, right? Anyway, it worked out all right. So we want to think about readiness also in the context of understanding what you're working with, understanding where you are, and being able to define how can I be successful with where I am? How can I improve in certain areas or strengthen certain areas in order to mitigate risk, but also be able to take steps forward? Sometimes it makes sense to wait until you get a couple things in place. Maybe you waited till those college loans were paid off. That might have been a smart thing to do, right? But it may not have been until you reached the top of your career before you decided to start a family. So we're looking at this from the same perspective, from a functional perspective in terms of readiness. What does it look like in your organization, right? Is your organization or is your business problem clear? Right? Are people on board with that for the specific project initiative? And then is your organization ready to be fertile ground to support a project or initiative that is about disruption, that is about change, that is about breaking from the status quo? Is your organization ready for that? Is the industry that you're about to venture into ready for change? Is it ready for your initiative? Is it ready to solve your business problem? So again, readiness is not just about here's my snapshot, I've got an A or I've got a C. It's about what can we work with as we go forward, right, to make that positive progress, to meet that business problem or opportunity. That's what readiness should be. That's how we should be thinking about readiness today.
So today, look at things that go on beyond the status quo. Look at something a little bit different today and then invest that time.
You know, today we're also going to talk about successes. It's not all bad in state government. It's all we hear kind of is the negative stuff, but we are doing some things right. And this afternoon, about 4 o'clock, we're going to take a moment to give kudos to some of the teams in the state of California that have done well. And I really encourage you to come and participate in acknowledging these teams. Many of us will actively click on the link that says another failed project, right? We'll take the time to read that. I'm encouraging you to click on today at 4 o'clock. Take time to come out and acknowledge our project teams and those individual contributors that are helping to make projects successful, because it is not all bad, and we need to, as a community of project delivery practitioners, wrap our arms around the people that are doing well. And so I really want to encourage you to come out to the awards ceremony this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
So I want to see this room filled at 4 o'clock tonight. All right? I think one of the most valuable things about forums and summits like this is to be able to connect with people. Meet somebody that you don't know. Exchange a business card. Go out to the Solution Center. Talk with our private sector partners and talk about your project. That's what this day is about. Doing things differently. None of us have all the answers. Some of us have some of the answers. The more people you connect with, the more that jigsaw puzzle starts to get put together. So please, take that time.